Good morning, Aggies and Buckeyes. Today is April 27th, and we are going to get started this morning with our essential question. So take a look at the left-hand side of your screen, and this week our essential question has to do with what can you discover when you look at something closely. Now take a look at the picture that you see on your screen. You're right, that is a peacock. Now, as you look at that peacock, you can see its feathers. Now, when scientists magnify a peacock's feather, they look very, very different. They don't always look as the ones that you see on your screen. I'm going to show you in just a second what those feathers look like magnified. And I guarantee you will be very, very surprised to see what they look like under a microscope. Now, people make discoveries when they look at things up close. For example, if you magnify a peacock feather, it will resemble a pine cone. That's pretty crazy, right? Give me just a second and I'll show you what that looks like. Scientists look at things closely for many reasons. They may look for clues to help them make our lives better or to cure diseases. Hang tight while I switch screens so you can see what a peacock's feathers looks like under a microscope, sorry. All right, guys, so now you'll see on your screen in the two circles a closer look of what a peacock looks like under a microscope. Now, right here you can see, now let me move my cursor, this is what the feathers look like underneath the scope, and this is what you see with your naked eye. Now, a naked eye is just looking without anything magnified, which makes things bigger. So you can see that when you magnify these actual feathers, they appear very different under a microscope. Look at the peacock feather and you see the rings of color. Now look at the same feather under a microscope and suddenly it resembles a pine cone. What do you discover when you see an object from far away and then close up? Why do science examine things closely? What would you like to examine under a microscope? If you have someone to share answers with, please do so. If not, keep those answers to yourself or maybe write them in a short journal. Now, let's get started with our vocabulary words for the week. Now remember, each word is going to be found in the text that we read this week. Our first word this week is cling. Say it with me. Cling. To cling is to stick closely. The frog is able to cling to the tree branch because of his long legs. So you can see with his long legs, he can cling, which means to stick to the tree. What's a synonym for cling? That's right. A synonym would be stick. Let's go to our next word for the week. Our next word is dissolves. Say it with me. Dissolves. Let's watch this short video and see what they have to tell us about dissolves.
Dissolves. To dissolve means to pass into a solution with a liquid. Dissolves. To dissolve means to pass into a solution with a liquid.
Awesome. So you heard the definition to dissolve, and yes, that is right. It does mean to pass into a solution with a liquid. The tablet dissolves quickly in water. What does sugar look like when it dissolves in water? If you're able to perform that quick experiment with your parents' permission, try it now, and then come back and let us know how it worked out. Hit the pause button if you're able to do that experiment. If not, let's keep going with our words for this week. Your next word for this week is gritty. Say it with me. Gritty. Now, you may recognize the word grit, and that's one of our traits at Harvest Hill. So what does gritty mean? Something gritty contains very small bits of sand or stone. So although the word gritty has the word grit in it, they do have two different meanings. Now at school, grit means to continue doing something even though it's really hard. And this vocabulary word actually has to do with having dirt on you. Now, the sand on the bottom of his feet feels gritty? What other things feel gritty? Now, how many of you guys are familiar with sandpaper? That's right, sandpaper has a very gritty feeling, just like sand. Let's take a look at our next vocabulary word for this week. And that word is humid. Say it with me. Humid. Humid means moist or full of water vapor. I like the tropical feeling of the moist, humid air in the rainforest. What is an antonym for humid? Hit the pause button so you can think of an antonym for humid. When you're ready, click play to come back. Now, humid reminds me of weather that's in Texas or in a rainforest, and humidity is terrible for my hair. When it gets humid, my hair goes like this. Let's hope we don't ever have really humid weather when we head back to school. Otherwise, you'll get to see Miss Valadez with some crazy hair, even though it won't be crazy hair day. Let's take a look at our next word. Our next word for this week is magnify. Say it with me. Magnify. Let's watch this short video and see what they have to say about the word magnify.
Magnify. To magnify is to make something look bigger than it really is.
Now, I'm sure you guys all already knew that when you magnify something, you make it look bigger than it really is. You can magnify a leaf to see its details up close. How are the words magnify and enlarge the same? That's right, they are both synonyms of each other. Good job, guys. Let's take a look at our next word. Our next word this week is microscope. Say it with me. Microscope. Let's watch this short video and see what they have to say about microscope.
Microscope. A microscope is a device for looking at things that are too small to be seen with the naked eye.
All right, so that is the definition of microscope. The scientists used a microscope to study the plant cells. Now remember, the scientists probably used that microscope so they could see the plant cells, because you cannot see plant cells with just your eyeballs like this. You have to have something to enlarge them, or, that's right, magnify them. What would you like to view through a microscope? Our next word this week is mingle. Say it with me. Mingle. Now, I guarantee you, once you hear the definition for mingle, you're all going to wish we were back at school, able to mingle with each other. So, let me tell you what mingle is. To mingle is to mix or come together. So, I definitely miss being able to mingle with all of you. The three penguins like to mingle and socialize on the beach. Now, you and I didn't socialize on the beach, but we were able to socialize in class, and I definitely miss our time mingling together. What is a synonym for mingle? Hit the pause button, share with someone what you think a synonym for mingle is, and then hit play when you're ready to continue. And our last word this week is the word typical. Say it with me. Typical. To be typical is to show qualities or characteristics of a certain type. Freezing temperatures in Alaska are normal and typical for part of the year. Describe typical weather for your region. Now, we live in Southern California, and our typical weather is usually sun, some clouds sometimes, and some occasional rain. But for the most part, we typically see very sunny days. Now, if you can, I would like you to tell your family member what a typical day of school consists of now. Because if you have learned the word typical, you know that a typical day in school right now is very different than what it used to be. All right, guys, those are all of our words to know for this week. you're going to head over to Wonders and you're going to complete page 231 so you can practice your vocabulary words. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.